It's over 9,000!
Welcome, everyone, once again to Final Forum, our more casual version of the show. I am Jelly.
And I'm the Bekinney.
And, yeah, we're just doing another catch-up. I promised last time we'd do part 2 of the Japan trip, so we're going to do that today. But we're just also going to check in, make sure everyone's doing okay. I know we're not... And I don't want to get overly into politics, but that's actually a good segue to talking about some listener feedback. We had a comment on one of our YouTube videos from our flight episode, our Bukujutsu episode. I unfortunately did not get a chance in the time between when I noticed this comment and now to go and re-listen to that episode to know even what that person was talking about. In terms of what they were referencing, but the comment was, "Oh, this is too bad. I was enjoying this show until I realized it was a couple of Republicans talking to each other." To which I say, "LOL."
I mean, if that's your take, okay.
I don't know what we did or said. I don't know what we did or said in that episode that made someone think that we are Republicans. But
I honestly don't know.
I can't think of I mean I know we've made like a couple of I've had a couple of like little jabs or jokes or whatever about like social distancing and like woke in there, but isn't there what's that? There's like a isn't there like a rule of humanity or of the internet or something that like anything that someone says as sarcasm or satire, someone will interpret as being serious?
The closest I can come up with is Poe's Law, which
Yes.
is that any satire that's sufficiently good enough is indistinguishable from an actual position that person would take.
Oh, okay. Except I don't think our satire is that good.
I thought we were pretty heavy on the sarcasm. Apparently we need to be heavier. That's okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
I can go more sarcastic if that's what the people are asking for.
So if you are still listening, I forget this person's YouTube name, but if you're still listening, we're not Republicans at all. And if you're a Republican who's listening and now you're all mad about that, good. See you later. I don't know how you made it this far, frankly. So that out of the way, I will mention it's only been a couple of weeks since we last recorded one of these together, so there's not a whole lot going on in our world in terms of recognizing our viewers and listeners, but I do want to say
absolutely nothing of importance has happened. Absolutely nothing
for our viewers.
Yeah, no, I know.
I will say that Jackie Vegito on I think it's Vegito on Blue Sky. I see you. I've seen your interactivity with our posts and your comments, and I appreciate it and I dig it, and thank you for your engagement with us. That is awesome. I'll put this on the record here too now. We ever get big enough to where recognizing our listeners in these little casual catch-up episodes gets to be like too unwieldy for us for whatever reason, because we do get such an influx of comments and likes and shares and emails and requests and we will do periodic, and I don't know what periodic is. Maybe it's quarterly, maybe it's annually, maybe it's twice a year. Periodic, like, listener appreciation episodes where we acknowledge you guys and say thank you and answer questions and things like that. I don't want it to be part of like the regular show and regular episodes, and that is a me thing. If people really, really want that, maybe we can figure out a way to add that in somehow. But I know for me, when I listen to other shows and they start doing the now we're gonna read emails from people's part, I'm like, skip 30 seconds, skip 30 seconds, skip 30 seconds. So that's a me thing. But I don't want to make a show that I wouldn't want to listen to.
Fair.
So, that said, what's new since the last time we talked, other than the big
other than things we won't talk about?
Yeah.
Not much has happened for me. I started the Malazan book series in earnest.
Okay.
I'm not super familiar with it, so I can't really give a breakdown of like what it's about. I'm literally like working on the first couple chapters right now. But it is a good read. It's an entertaining read, so I will probably come back to it the next time we do one of these and just kind of give an update on where I'm at.
Okay.
But other than that, no, it's just been my normal routine for a while now.
Did I mention last time that as a family I've mentioned this before. As a family, we pick a book and we read it and then watch the movie.
Oh, that's pretty fun.
We have picked The Princess Bride.
Excellent choice.
And we're reading The Princess Bride. And now this is a movie I've seen. I've seen this movie dozens, if not over 100 times in my life.
This is tradition.
This is a movie I've seen so many times. I've never read the book. I love it so far.
Awesome.
We're only up to Wesley and Inigo just had their sword fight.
Mm-hmm.
So we're only up to there, which is, I think, right around 30% of the book is what it says. And I love it. Like, it is just as funny, but with like some slightly different jokes. Like one of the running theme jokes of the book is a character will say something like, get a doctor, or hold your horses, or like something like that. That's like a colloquialism almost. And there'll be a parenthetical that'll be like, this was after doctors, but before doctors became the it makes a joke.
It tries
of like,
to contextualize the colloquialism.
Yes, like this was after Banks, but before this, or like, oh, Buttercup's hair was the best of anyone in the world, and now she also had hairdressers, and it's like, this was after hairdressers. Of course, anything after women started brushing their hair was after hairdressers. Like, so
is that supposed to be like the grandpa, like giving asides while he's reading?
No, because that is also kind of in there. My kids were very confused by the beginning of this book. And a lot of people who have read it actually have been too. The book starts with a character talking about, what you're about to read is my favorite book. It's my favorite book, even though I had never read it before just now. And he goes on a long story about how whenever I was sick, my dad used to read me this book called The Princess Bride by S. Morgenstern. And the actual book is written by William Goldman. And it says like, S. Morgenstern, and it's like, my dad used to read me this book. It was my favorite book. And so when my son got old enough to like be able to really read, and he was like a booky kind of kid to an extent, I tracked down this book that was out of print and gave it to him. And then I had to go on a business trip. And when I came home, I asked him how the book was, and he was like, yeah, it was good. And then the more questions I asked him, the more I realized he stopped reading it after the first chapter. And he's like, and then I not being able to believe that he did that, went and read the book and immediately realized why. And he's like, Morgenstern starts the book with 56 pages of the lineage of Buttercup, and then 63 pages of Prince Humperdinck's lineage, and then 42 pages about people packing, and then 58. And he's like, and so what I've done is I've gone through and cut through all that and brought you the good parts version, the part that my dad used to read to me because my dad would skip all those parts. And then it like goes on into the story itself. And then there are still break-ins where like the character will be like, it's at this point that Morgenstern goes on for 58 pages about packing, and I have cut all that out for you.
That's fun.
But that is just a 100% meta narrative invented for the book. There is no Princess Bride by S. Morgenstern. Aside from that, we had... Now, this episode is going up. We're recording it on a Friday. I hope to have it up on the following Tuesday. But we've had week 1 of the NFL so far. And
good week to be a Bills fan.
Exactly. Just when I thought, well, Josh Allen couldn't possibly be any better at football. He's like, hold my Josh Allen O's cereal from Wegmans.
Yeah.
To contextualize how insane this guy is to some listeners out there, maybe just a little bit. My parents had Buffalo Bills season tickets all throughout the Jim Kelly years. From like 1988 until 1997 when he retired. My parents were Buffalo Bills season ticket holders. My parents went to 2 of the Super Bowls. I watched a lot of really good football as a kid. I then had Buffalo Bills season tickets from 2003 to 2010. I watched a lot of really bad football.
Sorry.
Really bad football. And then Josh Allen came along, and the only reason I'm not a Bills season ticket holder anymore is because I moved from Buffalo to Texas, so not very practical.
As far as seeing Bills games, yeah.
Right. I've watched Josh Allen's entire career, and I have watched him go from like being like, wow, he's really exciting and fun to watch, to wow, he's actually really good, to wow, he is one of the 2 or 3 best quarterbacks in the entire league, to I genuinely think he's the best quarterback in football. Period. Point blank. I am willing to listen to other arguments, and I'll say those other arguments almost stop and or almost begin and end with the name Patrick Mahomes, but I will listen to arguments, but I think he's the best.
I don't know as much about football as you do, so I will defer to your opinion.
I think he somehow managed to be even better than I have ever seen him play before. It really blew my mind how good he was on Sunday night, and just absolutely fantastic. And it's really funny because Baltimore scored with I think like 8 minutes left in the game, and then the Bills immediately punted, and I said, that's it, it's over. And yet I sat on the couch and still watched it because that's what you do. You sit there and watch it. Because there's only, for Bills fans, we'll say 19 to 21 games in a season. So that's it. Like that's it. It's like a season of TV. Like there's only 20 episodes. Yeah. So you sit there and watch them, even if one of them kind of sucks. And with like 4 minutes left in the game, the Bills were about to score, and my daughter was like, can I go to bed? Can you come like tuck me in? Like I always like to send my kids to bed a little bit. She's like, can you come? And I was like, hang on, the game's almost over. And she's like, you said it was over already. And I was like, but you sit and watch it because that's what you do. And then when they were like about to kick that field goal, and I was freaking out because, hey, I've seen the Bills lose in worse fashions than a missed field goal. I was like freaking out, and my daughter was like, I thought you said it was over already. And I was like, this is why you sit and watch. Like,
especially because like this isn't the first time the Bills have done this.
Not this version of the Bills, right?
Not this version of the Bills, yeah, but like historically speaking, the Bills have done this kind of stuff before.
Yes. Yeah, the comeback game, which my parents were at, and my dad wanted to leave, and my
I think he didn't.
And my mom was like, "These tickets were expensive. We're staying." And it's funny because expensive means they were like $28 tickets. Anyways, there's a new Dragon Ball MOBA coming or out or something. I think people are talking about having played it a little bit. Have you heard about this?
I have not heard about this.
It's called Gekishin Squadra. It's a 4v4 MOBA game, which has gotten some good reviews. That's all I know about it. It's free to play, probably with a ton of microtransactions. People are saying people are saying it's fun. That's all I know. It like just came out recently. September 9th.
It is on Steam.
So here we are we're recording this on the 12th. It just came out on the 9th. I haven't picked it up and played it yet. We will I don't know, maybe we'll do it or something, I don't know. Could be a fun episode to do. We'll see.
Sure. Give it a shot.
Yeah. Okay. Which brings us to, I guess, the other thing here. We'll do this again or whatever. Last time I talked about my trip to Japan in some detail. Yeah. And I said, hey, I'll finish it off next time. And I think I left with us arriving in Osaka. So we were in Osaka, and we stayed right near a place called Dotonbori, which gets extremely busy at night. And it's also near this sign that they have called the Glico sign. And it has the Glico man on it. And Glico, this sign that's there, has some iteration of it has been in that exact spot where it is for 90 years. It used to be just like a wood board, but Glico is the company that makes Pocky sticks.
Right on. I like Pocky sticks.
Yes. So that's what Glico is famous for. And so Dotonbori is kind of like not quite kind of Times Square-ish, right? There's like a bunch of bright lights and tons of people type of area.
Okay.
And we stayed near there. At night, it gets crazy busy. And then we went to, it was called the Namba Yashika Shrine, I think? Or Namba Yasaka. It's this shrine with this huge demon head in it. It was really, really awesome and very cool. It was actually also one of the only places, and I'll see if I can find the picture. It was one of the only places where we saw anything almost, aside from Hiroshima, that was World War II related. And it was like it was like a cover off of a gun from a battleship from World War II, and it had like a comment about the people that perished on this battleship in World War II. It was like one of the only places that we saw any World War II stuff. From the Namba Yasaka Shrine, we saw a lot of Demon Slayer stuff because that movie was out while we were there. Mm-hmm. We went to
I think it just released today, actually, in the States.
I was thinking it either just released today or very, very recently. I believe the next place we went to was called Shitanoji Temple, and this was a temple that had like your traditional Shie dogs out in front and some really cool lanterns, and it had this really cool bridge that was crazily arched, and it was like And then also in this temple was a bunch of really cool stuff where like they had these stones that said they were power stones or something, and you were supposed to kind of dig through this rock garden and find a rock with the symbol for go, the symbol for dai, and the symbol for Riki on it, and they're Godai Riki stones. And then you were supposed to, like, if you put them in a pouch, they become like an amulet together that give you like good fortune and stuff. So that was really cool. To like dig through this like little rock garden with like and looking for this, because not every single stone in this rock garden even had anything written on it. So it was more of a comb through than I kind of assumed it was going to be. Another thing that was cool about this day was as we were walking around, we saw this tree, and this woman was just praying like to this tree, like a very like Shintoist type of thing, right? Of like this tree, as far as we knew, was nothing special. There was like no plaque around it, nothing like that. But this woman just came and like prayed in front of this tree. Maybe it meant something to her. That was pretty cool. That was really cool. And then outside of the temple, there was all this wood art, and that was like another time where I was like, oh, this is something, and this is something. And then there was even this art of a couple of bunnies. There was this art of a couple of bunnies, and it wasn't like anything super special, but I was then telling my wife, I was like, oh, rabbits are like important symbols in Japan, because when we look at the moon and we see the man in the moon, they see a rabbit making mochi. And I told the story about the mochi making rabbit in the moon, which if you go back and listen to episode, I think it was like episode 5 of our podcast, we talked all about rabbits. Rabbit one, yeah. And then I found Waldo.
Oh my God, he did it. He found Waldo.
The cool thing about Osaka, I don't know if I mentioned this last time, is that like their manholes are decorative. Maybe this one was the Shitanoji temple, but this was also a very, very beautiful temple. Really just like gorgeous architecture. We went inside a building, and inside we actually saw monks chanting their sutras. So we got to hear a bunch of monks chanting their sutras for a while. We stayed and hung out for like half an hour of it, because we actually wanted to take some pictures of these monks on the way out, because they were dressed like wearing like purple and orange robes, and their robes were like beautiful, but you know, it said not to take any pictures, and it had like no picture signs everywhere, and I didn't want to bust out my phone and be taking pictures of these guys praying. That felt very disrespectful. Yeah. So like we hung out for like half an hour, and that was on top of us not having been there or when they started, and they were like still going, and I was like, how long is this going to take? Like, I went outside and like looked it up on my phone, and it was like some sutras can take 2 to 2.5 hours. And I was like, let's just like, clearly this is one of the longer ones. We're just going to bounce.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Exactly. So there was a really cool pagoda at this temple though. It was beautiful. We did get like a picture of a different monk on our way out, but he was not one of the guys that was actually praying. Then we just went to check it out. I don't think we climbed up it. I forget what it's called. It's a tall tower in Osaka that has like a viewing deck on it, and we just kind of went and walked under it and around it and checked it out. And then there was like a street outside where we got some street food. I got some taiyaki. It was delicious. I love taiyaki. I don't know if you've ever had it.
No, I've never had it.
It's like a pancake waffle combination. Mm-hmm. Like the middle of it is more pancakey, because it gets like slightly less like crispy, and then the edges are more waffly, and then it's usually filled with something, and you can get it filled with like red bean paste, matcha, chocolate, custard. I think I got custard. Really good stuff. Also, while we were in Osaka, the World's Fair, like Expo 2025 was going on. We never went there, but it was like a big deal. Like we met people while we were in Osaka who were like, oh yeah, we're here for that.
Cool.
And this is like, it was a really big deal. Osaka hasn't had one of these in 55 years, which I think actually coincides with a Gamera movie, Gamera versus, I think, Jiger. And they like that movie paired with the World Expo that year to like co-finance the movie, because that's when the bottom was dropping out of the Japanese film industry. Mm-hmm. So that movie has like a lot of shots of like Expo that year.
Cool.
Oh, I bought a Tanuki while I was there because
nice.
You know how I love my Tanukis.
Yes.
So when we were in Kyoto, we walked through like a forest of Tanuki, and I was like, I'll wait. I'll get one like somewhere else, because I don't want to be lugging around this ceramic thing for weeks and have it break on me. And then like the rest of the time in Kyoto, I didn't see another one. And then when we were in Osaka, I was like not seeing them anywhere. But I'm seeing them on everyone's front porches. Like all the houses, like on their front porches. And I'm like,
yeah,
all right, where can I? So I finally go to my front desk at the hotel, and I was like, where can I get a Tanuki statue? And they were like, oh, at the department store. So
that makes sense.
I went to one of their department stores and got a Tanuki. While I was on that walk, I saw a couple getting their like wedding or engagement pictures done. This was where like, on this day, this was our 8th day in country. My wife was pretty burnt out, and she's like, I'm going to go like get my nails done and just have like an easy afternoon. And I was like, okay, while you're doing that, I'm going to go get this Tanuki statue. And then I'm going to walk around. And then also, while we were in Osaka, the name of their baseball team are the Orix Buffaloes.
Nice.
And so I was like, I'm going to go try and find some Buffaloes merch. So while I was out looking for Buffaloes merch, I came across the Pokemon store in Osaka in one of their department stores. I forget the name of the department store, but I found the Pokemon store. And so I took some pictures with some of the legendary birds and at the Pokemon Cafe. And I'm walking around this department store, and I happen across the Jump shop.
Nice.
Where they didn't have a whole lot of Dragon Ball stuff in here, because right now Jump is largely focusing on One Piece. They're like really, really focusing on One Piece right now. But I did see some My Hero stuff. There was some Goku art up on the walls. I got myself a Dragon Ball shirt, and it's a Dragon Ball, like it's Kid Goku with the tail, with the sacred water. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's cool. Like you don't find shirts in the US that are they're all Dragon Ball Z or Super.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But so I had to go to the Kyocera Dome in Osaka to get Buffaloes merch, which was only about a 50-minute train ride. So not that bad, actually. So I go out to this dome, and I'm walking up, and I'm like, boy, I don't have any good pictures of it, but as I'm walking up, I'm like, boy, there's a lot of people wearing jerseys. And I was like, and not just the Buffaloes. There's like Buffaloes and another team and 2 other teams. Like, is there a game today? And do people just wear all their jerseys to these games? It happened to be the league-wide all-star game that day.
Wow.
So I walk up,
that's some lucky timing.
There's like thousands of people, and I'm like, what is happening?
Oh, that's incredibly lucky timing.
It's the league-wide all-star game. So I didn't go to the game, but I got to see like all the stuff they had set up outside, people taking pictures, special merch. I went to the Buffaloes team store. I got some hats and shirts for like, I thought it was so fun that and my whole family did too. I brought home a whole bunch of souvenirs from Japan that said Buffalo on them.
Nice.
Like, that's fun.
Yeah.
So that was like the afternoon that I had, going to the Kyocera Dome and going
That's a good day
to check out the Buffaloes. Like, that was just so cool. When I was in line then, checking out, because I was wearing a Bills shirt, and you know everyone is buying like All-Star merch, and I'm just buying Buffaloes merch, and I was like, I like pulled up a translation on my phone that was like, I am from Buffalo in the United States. And they were like, oh, that's so cool. Like, they thought it was like cool and fun. So, and then like, yeah, their logo is pretty, like the B for their logo is pretty close to the Red Sox. So I made sure I got stuff that said Buffaloes on it for my family, because I didn't want anyone to be like, oh, you're a Red Sox fan, huh? Because no one in my family is. Then what else? Oh, that I think this night was the night we went bar hopping in Osaka, and our guide was really good. He was the one that told us about the Glico sign and how long it had been there. He was also the one, I may have mentioned this last time, but I'm not sure. He's the one who told us that Japan has 3 religions: Shintoism, Buddhism, and baseball. And that they love their baseball team in Osaka so much that when they made the World Series in, I think it was like, well, not the Japanese World Series, whatever that's called.
Yeah.
They jumped off the Dotonbori Bridge into the Dotonbori River, and every person that did it wore a player's jersey and was like the winner of a lookalike contest for that player. But they had an American on their team, and nobody looked like an American at all. And this guy also, the American on their team, had a beard. So they stole a Colonel Sanders statue from a nearby KFC, put that player's jersey on, and chucked it into the river. They went on to lose that series and not make it back to the series for like 25, 30 years. So
that's what they get for disrespecting the Colonel.
So they dredged the river to recover the statue. And like 2 years after they recovered the statue, they won the World Series. So they call it like
that's incredible.
They call it the Curse of the Colonel, and it was for like the Hanshin Tigers. We also made takoyaki, which is fried octopus batter balls. There's a really interesting way that you make them. That was really cool. That like and our guide was very good at like explaining to like Osaka. I got the feeling that Osaka was like, we're Japan. Like everything else is touristy and we're like Japan. And they also have like a lot of like city pride in like, we invented takoyaki, and if you get it anywhere else, it's not quite right. So that was cool though. Our guide for this was a really, really awesome guide. And then we ended the night at this bar that had Ultraman and also Godzilla and also Metallica. So it was fantastic. It was a really good night. Also this bar had a thing where they had, you can't see them that well. They had these dice, and they were like, if you roll doubles, you get a double drink for the price of a single.
Ooh, I like that.
So every time you ordered, you rolled dice. So that was cool. And the people we went out with, we had like a dude from England who was there for the expo, a pair from Amsterdam, I think. No, now I can't remember where they were from. but they were also there for Expo, and they were from Belgium. They were from Belgium. And then we had like a pair of guys from New York City. And when this couple from Belgium introduced themselves, the one guy from New York City was like, "Where in Belgium?" And they like said the name of it. And he's like, "That's where I was born."
Oh, that's crazy.
So like and it was like some small town in like northern Belgium. And then they were speaking, I think, Dutch to each other. And I was like, what? Because I knew it wasn't German that they were speaking, and I also knew it wasn't French. And I was like, I'm sorry, but like, what language are you guys speaking to each other? And they were like, and they like told me about how like Belgium's this really weird country where like depending on whether you live in the north, the south, the west, you speak like German or Dutch or French. So that was like fun and interesting to learn. So that was day 8 in country, and then day 9 we went to Osaka Castle. We saw more of the manholes that were pretty cool, and Osaka Castle was one of the other places that I thought was uncomfortably crowded, if I'm being like 100% honest, but very beautiful on the outside. Osaka Castle, obviously. It was very crowded on the inside, but really cool views from the top. And also I busted out my Godzilla nerddom while we were on the top, and I was like, oh, hey, these 2 buildings right here are called the Twin 21, or at least they were in 1989 when Godzilla trampled right through here and Godzilla versus Biollante, and they shot him with anti-nuclear energy bacteria. And everyone, like, there were like a lot of people, and everyone was like, what the hell are you talking about? It was like, it's a movie. That's how I know my entire life, okay? I relate my whole life to
everything
movies.
is movies.
But so Osaka Castle was very, very crowded, though. It was one of the... Because I think I said that about the one other place last time. I can't remember what it was. It was the Kinkakuji, the Golden Pavilion. Those are the 2 places where I felt like, oh, there's maybe too many people around here. And the rest of the time there were crowds, but never so, like, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I am okay, like, like I've gone to sporting events, I've gone to concerts, I've gone to like Disney and stuff like that. Like, I don't think something is really crowded unless people are like piled on top of me. Because like other places there were definitely like crowds, but not like piled on top of you. Then after we got out of Osaka Castle, our tour guide from the drinking night the night before was like, oh, while you're there, go to the Kyoto Figure Museum and go check that out. And I was like, okay, we'll go check it out. And it was like, I don't know, maybe $10 to get in. And they had a huge Evangelion statue, and then they had all of these like tons of Godzillas, tons of Gameras, tons of Godzilla kaiju. They had Ultra Kaiju and Ultraman and Kamen Rider and Alien, and they had tons of Gremlins from the Gremlins movies. They had Star Wars and Disney. Like, they had every possible nerd thing that you could think of. It was really, really awesome. Like, just very cool figures. That's pretty cool. Very like detailed, a lot of them, and then some of them that weren't. Like, they had whole collections of like the gacha figures in there, like all these little like gacha figurines and all these like little Pokemon gacha figurines, and it was just like really a really cool thing to spend some time. It was also air conditioned, which was nice. Then let's see, we were walking around Osaka more that day. Oh, they make something that they call cheesecake in Osaka, and I would say it's more of like a cross between kind of cheesecake and angel food cake. And what they do is it's like boiled, and I don't know if you guys, I'm going to play this video.
Wobbly cakes, right?
Yes. they jiggle like crazy, and then they stamp them with their brand, and these are like, we bought they also have like a layer of raisins on the bottom. These cakes are so good. You saw the size of it. It's like a size of a cake.
Yeah.
My wife and I ate a whole one in 2 sittings. We ate like a half and a half. Like, they're delicious. And they're lighter than you would expect. Like, for a cheesecake, like, when we bought it, we were like, oh no, we're going to have this for the rest of the trip. Cause cheesecake I can eat like a small piece. It's dense.
Yeah. You eat like a sliver and you're good.
No, it was like, it's so light and fluffy. Then we had okonomiyaki, which is their savory pancake, which was really good. Osaka's a big foodie town. Then I found the Osaka Godzilla store. I actually did not go in because I was like, I will not walk out with any money.
It's good to know your limits.
So I then also found the Osaka Ultraman store, the Osaka Capcom store with Mega Man and Ryu in it. I also found the Osaka Ghibli store. And then, so when we got to Osaka, day one, we turned on the TV. I think I mentioned last time that like we watched a lot of like the news because you can use your Google Lens to translate it. And one of the very first things we saw when we turn on the news is hey, we're checking out this new business type of like puff piece story. Yeah. And it was called And Roll. And what they made were cabbage rolls, which...
like Glumkies.
Yes.
Back home.
Okay. I wasn't sure if you... like, I was like, if you're a Polish person who's from Buffalo...
I'm not, but I used to work in a Polish restaurant. I know Glumkies are.
Okay, if you're a Polish person from Buffalo, New York, you know Glumkies. And my mother's whole side of her family is all Polish. And so I was like, when we were watching the news story, I was like, those look pretty good. We should check this place out. And we like went there the first day and they're like, oh, sorry, we're closed today. And I was like, oh no. So we did go back and talk about like an authentic experience in terms of like, this is a place that only locals go to. They did not even have an English menu. They barely spoke English to the extent that like the chef came out because the waiters did not speak English. And the chef was like, plain? They serve these like glumkies like 4 ways. Plain, tomato, demi-glace, or, and he couldn't even think of the name of it, white stew is what he called it.
Okay.
And I think it's, there's the 4 mother sauces in French cooking. And one of them is velouté. I think it might have been velouté or a white roux. And I got it. And it was really, really good. So we each got a tomato. I got a velouté. My wife got a demi-glace. It was so, so good. Like I mentioned, Osaka's for foodies. It was super delicious. We also walked through Amerimura, which is Amerikamura, which is where the like teenage delinquents hang out. And I like took a quick video of as we're walking through of these kids that were skateboarding and the fuzz was messing with them. And I think that was pretty much it in that day in Osaka. And then we were off from there to Hiroshima. And cool thing about Japan in general, but Osaka in particular, because this is where I first noticed it, they have women-only subway trains. So that like this car on this subway was for women only. So that, and it actually is only during certain times of day. It's like during the rush hour times, basically. But so yeah, pretty cool. I thought actually to offer that to people who might be uncomfortable around men, for obvious reasons. Men suck, is what I'm saying. This was our view from our hotel in Hiroshima, and we were like this is a fountain right here that's right outside of, this is Peace Park, like right out here. You could see Peace Park. You couldn't quite, just barely not see the dome from our apartment or from our hotel. Like the dome was like behind this one building right here.
Okay.
So there we could see the atomic dome. We walked around Hiroshima, and like everything in Hiroshima is like Peace something, Peace Bridge, Peace Memorial, Peace Museum, Peace Park. It's all cries for peace. And interestingly, almost nothing says this is where Americans dropped the bomb. It's almost all says this is where the first atomic bomb was detonated. This is where, and I know some of that is because a lot of these monuments, not all of them, but a lot of them were built or commissioned during the occupation. And because of that, they couldn't reference America. But in like hindsight, I guess, or whatever, it's kind of cool to have a place that focuses less on the blame of anything and more on the effects of it and the pleas for peace, right? And then we found like there was this monument to a Dr. Marcel Junod or something like that, which I learned from that he was like one of the first Americans to go to Hiroshima in the months after the Japanese surrender, and was like, you guys, it's so much worse than you think. You need to send troops to bring aid to these people now. So he was like a pioneer in making sure that people like survived that winter, because the devastation was so much worse than people realized. I have almost no selfies or pictures of either myself or my wife at Peace Park or around any of this stuff in Hiroshima, because it felt super disrespectful, because these are like memorials and statues that say like, here's one of a mother trying to like save her children from the fire, and here's one of school children like huddling, because there was also regular bombings going on, is like what people don't realize about the bombing of Hiroshima, is like there were other bombings that had taken place. There was a group of school children who were outside who were like clearing rubble from a bombing several days before. And one of the reasons that people didn't take shelter when the planes flew overhead is that it didn't look like an air raid. There were only 3 planes. There was a scout plane, a scientific measurements plane, and then the Enola Gay that held was this one Little Boy or Fat Man? I can't remember anymore.
I don't remember off the top of my head.
But that held the actual bomb, and that was it. And so people looked up and saw planes and assumed, oh, those are planes assessing the damage from previous bombings. Those are scout planes. They are not war planes. So people like didn't take cover. And then also like, then there's this like, right when you walk into Peace Park, there's this arch that you can see, and like when you stand on it and look through it, you can see the atomic dome in the background of it too. And it looks like this plain arch, and it has little plaques around it in multiple languages that say that say, quote, "This monument embodies the hope that Hiroshima, devastated on August 6th by the world's first atomic bombing, will stand as a city of peace. The stone chamber in the center contains the register of the deceased A-bomb victims." So, like, I didn't want to be taking selfies of myself. Like, oh, sitting here in front of the list of names of everyone that died. You know, that just seems...
Yeah, that's...
gross.
Probably in poor taste.
Yeah. But... it was really, really powerful. Here's this. You couldn't see it from like the other angle, but they have an eternal flame that says, it's like almost depressing. It says this flame will burn until atomic weapons are no longer part of man's arsenal. And I was like, oh, so forever. But
yeah.
It's really powerful. Like standing in front of that monument where it had the registry of names, there were like you could hear people like silently crying a little bit. It was very like the power of the place really got to me actually. Like despite this was the hottest day by far that we were there. It was nearing 100. It was like just pouring with sweat, and the like quiet sanctity and beauty of like a lot of the monuments, and there's this bell of peace that encourages you to ring the bell, and it's like it's this very beautiful, gorgeous bell bong sound, and it also has an atomic symbol on it. And it says like we hope that every person who tolls this bell counts as a prayer for peace in the world. Just the like the beauty and like I said, like almost sanctity of that place, combined with seeing the atomic dome in the background of it, and like the destruction, is really, really moving and powerful stuff, and very just it very emotional. It was like emotionally harrowing to be there, honestly.
Sure.
And
that seems reasonable.
in like kind of a good way, right? Like I don't know, it's kind of nice to occasionally take a step back and reflect. And I have a friend who has said like Peace Park is one of his favorite places in the world, and I can see it,
Yeah.
So that was really, really something else. It was I would have liked to have been able to go to the museum. We kind of didn't have time to do it. I was surprised that there's still like rubble inside the atomic dome. I would have thought
they didn't touch it at all.
Other than there's like supports to make sure that the walls don't collapse any further.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't like clear out any of the rubble. They've just like added additional metal supports to make sure the walls don't crumble any further. But really powerful stuff. And then we did like just if I end up posting the video of this is outside their library, not outside Peace Park anymore. So now there are selfies.
There.
This is where the Hiroshima Carp, their baseball team, plays at their dome or their building. Then we went to Hiroshima Castle. We did not go up in it. We just wanted to see the outside of it. And there was this monument that this is the one that I was mentioning. Like it says like this is dedicated to the school children who were like caught in the atomic bombing because they were clearing rubble. And it has the equation E=mc² on it. And it actually says on a plaque, I'm not sure if it was one behind it or one in front of it, that says it has the equation on it because originally it was commissioned to have something that was more like explicitly blaming America, kind of. And the occupation forces were like, you can't do that. So they changed it to the E=mc² Einstein formula that kind of ultimately led to the genesis of the Manhattan Project.
Mm-hmm.
Hiroshima, no subways, more streetcars. I don't know why. I don't know. Like, I didn't look into it. I'm sure you could probably Google it easily. I don't know if it has to do with the like age of Hiroshima or some sort of historic like attempts to keep it that way, or the size of the city, or like, I don't know, maybe the water table is poor to have subways in Hiroshima. Not sure.
I wouldn't know.
And then I took a picture because I don't know if I mentioned that like all their washer and dryers, their dryers are like steam powered. So your clothes come out as dry as steam makes things, which, spoilers, is not very dry. So we had to like hang our clothes all over our hotel room whenever we did laundry. Some sumo wrestling stuff on TV that day. And then we went out to the reason we didn't go to the Peace Museum is because I wanted to go to Miyajima. We were only in Hiroshima for one one night, so we didn't have as much time to do like everything we wanted to do. I wanted to get out to Miyajima Island because they have their infamous floating torii gate, which looks like it's like floating kind of out in, I forget what the name of the river is, but it looks like it's floating out there. And it actually, when the sun, or at the beginning of the day, when the low tide, when the tide is out, you can actually walk under it.
Oh, okay.
We went in the evening, also on Miyajima Island, tons of deer, just like in Nara. I actually saw a deer rip a shopping bag out of a lady's hand and like run off into the woods with it. And I was like, that's hysterical. And then like, yeah, just, it was very, very picturesque, very beautiful out there at Miyajima with the floating torii gate. And like I said, at low tide, this gate, you can walk under it, which is crazy because there's quite a bit of water under it right now in the evening. But the tide goes out enough that you can end up walking under it. And there's a temple associated with it. The temple was closed when we got there, so we didn't get to walk through the temple at all. But all in all, the day in Hiroshima was like very picturesque, very beautiful, very powerful. And like, that's a place we went to where I was like, if we went back to Japan, I would like to go to Hiroshima again and spend a little more time.
Sure.
Because it was really cool stuff. Then we woke up the next morning, got back on a train, went back to Tokyo, and we stayed at the Godzilla Hotel.
Nice.
Which is what's the name? It's the Hotel Gracery in Shinjuku. And you can stay in either the regular hotel rooms, which, no. You could stay on the 30th floor, which is the Godzilla floor, or you can stay on the 10th and 9th floor, which are the Godzilla view rooms, where you get a view of the Godzilla Hotel, or you could stay in the Godzilla room, which is... Listen, I am neither this fiscally irresponsible nor this financially well off to stay in a room that's $1,000 a night. So we stayed in the Godzilla view room. It was a lot of fun. The Godzilla statue, there's like Godzilla stuff everywhere. There were Godzilla suits set up in the lobby. That night we went out to a like super fun samurai time type of thing. While we were out, while we were doing that, I made sure specifically to take a picture of this eyeball yokai, because I'm pretty sure it was Daddy Eyeball from Gegege no Kitaro. And I was like, oh, it's Daddy Eyeball. And everyone was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, it's Daddy Eyeball. But this was just a really cool like stage show with tons of pageantry, tons of spectacle behind it. It was really, really cool stuff. And also while we were there, we met like another, like sitting with us by happenstance were another pair of Americans who were like Broadway actors. And they had cool. So they were really into it. So that was like fun just talking to them about their experiences on Broadway. And actually was funny because he like the guy was like, oh yeah, because we were talking about like, oh, we're from Houston. And he's like, oh, I love Houston. And he goes, your hobby theater for performing arts. He's like, they're like one of the good ones. And he's like, and I say that like with the most respect possible. They hired him right before COVID hit the country and shut everything down. He was supposed to be there for like a 6-month gig of like training and learning a show and a whole bunch of things. He was supposed to be there for like a long time. And then COVID shut everything down, obviously. Their contracts as like working Broadway actors, all like working Broadway contract actors, your contract basically says like if the show gets canceled, you're screwed. Like that's it. You're done.
Yeah.
You don't get paid because the show got canceled. Oh, well, sorry. They paid him for, I think he said like it was either a month or 3 months, and they didn't have to pay him anything. So
nice.
He was very appreciative of the Houston art scene. And then back to the Godzilla Hotel that night. And then while we were in the Godzilla Hotel that night, I went up to the front desk and was like, hey, listen, I'm a huge fan, and I've been a huge fan since I was like 3 years old. Is there any way I could just see the 30th floor? And so one of their people took me up to the 30th floor, and I got to walk around the Godzilla floor, which after doing it, I was very glad we stayed in the view room, because the Godzilla floor was just like, the elevators were super Godzilla-y, and then there were pictures all up and down the hallway that were like of a bunch of the Godzilla movies. And that was kind of it. The room wasn't anything different than the view room. So I was like glad we had the view room, because you at least got the view. Which was a very cool view. And so that was that day in Tokyo. And that was like a slightly calmer day, because it's a 5-hour train ride from Hiroshima to back to Tokyo. Then we did more Godzilla Hotel the next day. And also we got these amazing, like, the pancakes that were like they were jiggly pancakes. Mm-hmm. They were super good. And this was the day my wife stood in line for 3 hours to get a Labubu for our daughter. While I went shopping to get egg punchers that we learned about from making ramen.
Majin Do.
I got a little Majin Do from a gotcha machine. Yeah. I was happy I got a Majin Do. I was like, oh, he's cute. I put him right on my backpack. I take him to work with me now every day.
Probably the best character in Daima.
Either Do or Ku, right?
Yeah, honestly.
Oh, Hibis. I forgot about Hibis.
Oh, shit, you're right. I retract my statement. Hibis is best boy.
Yeah. But so we got Labubu for my daughter from Japan. So she was super stoked. Then I'm pretty sure this was the day that night. Let's see what else we did that day. Oh, we went to Osaka. That we made rings with each other as like a souvenir to have. We had each like a handmade ring that we now each wear on our right ring fingers, which we learned symbolizes peace. And I was like, oh, that's fitting. And then that evening, I'm pretty sure it's that evening, we went to outside their municipal building on Saturdays and Sundays. They have a free light show, and it's like a projector light show outside of their city hall in like the plaza. And it's really cool because it was hot while we were there. However they constructed this thing, a nice breeze blows through. And it was like comfortable to be out there. And it was very, very cool. It's like they did 2 different shows. One was, for the first part of it was Gundam. The second part was just like, I don't want to say generic, but it was like Tokyo, 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 Tokyo. And it was like just like a pop, like rave synthy song was like Tokyo, 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 Tokyo. But it was really cool.
Okay.
And then the second half of it was all Godzilla stuff. And my wife did a time lapse thing of it. It came out just okay because she didn't quite line up the camera perfectly, but like, it was like they brought out I think the idea was that it would be every Godzilla that had attacked Tokyo as sort of its specific like locale. So it was the 54 Godzilla, the Godzilla from Godzilla vs. Destroyer, the Godzilla from Shin Godzilla, and then the Godzilla from Godzilla -1, and then they all lined up and blew their atomic breath kind of together. And it was a really cool like display. And then there was a second one for Godzilla also that was like Godzilla versus the Super X2. That one was less good. That one was just okay. And then there was also Pac-Man Eats Tokyo, and it had like Pac-Man on the side of the building like eating stuff. It was really, really cool. For free. That was a really cool thing that we did. That was just like, awesome. Let's go check that out. No idea what it's going to be like. It was free, and then it was awesome. And then we did another day in that Osaka, and actually we went out to Seibuen Park. Seibuen Park has the Ultraman ride and the Godzilla ride. And so we went out to that ride and rode on the Ultraman ride where you fight against my brain is like imploding right now, but it's an Ultraman monster that you fight against, and then they have like AR pictures that you can take, and I took a picture as in the Ultraman pose. Why can't
Pretty good.
All my Ultraman nerd friends are like, why couldn't you think of so and so's name? And I can't. My brain is not thinking of it. Then they had a Godzilla AR experience. The Godzilla ride and the Ultraman ride are in the same building, and they just swap at the midpoint of the day. And the ride itself is, you've either seen or been on one of these, I think. Like a lot, like if you've been to like a major amusement park, it's like one of those ones where you're seated and there's also like people actually seated on top of you and below you, and they like quote unquote fly you out over like a giant IMAX screen.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. And the Ultraman one, you are part of the SSSP, the Science Patrol, and you're like helping Ultraman fight this monster. In the Godzilla one, you're like evacuating some hotel. Those are like the stories that you're stuck in. And also, while I was in Sabuen Park, not the best amusement park in the world, if I'm being quite honest, but it was only like $25 to get in, so whatever. And it's more of a water park. Like there's a pretty big water park attached to it, and it was really hot, so like no people were really around, so that was kind of nice. We didn't have to wait in any of the lines. But I got to see I forget what these shows are called when they do a show where a guy says the story and shows pictures. It's an old school style of Japanese storytelling, and I forget what it's called, but it's really fun. And he was telling the story of Momotaro, the Peach Boy, which I feel like we've mentioned at least on this show before.
I'm pretty sure we have, yeah.
And so it was really funny because I just walked in just to take a picture, and he was like, obviously I look like an American. And he's like, oh, where from? And I was like, America, Houston. And he's like, oh, Houston, Texas. And then he was like, we are telling the story of Momotaro. And I was like, oh, Peach Boy. And he was like, oh, you know Japan, a good job. And I was like, uh-oh. And then he started like engaging me in the story. And I was like, I feel like I walked in here just to take a picture of this because I thought it was neat. And now I have to stay. So I stayed for the rest of that story. It was really fun, though. It was really cute and cool. And then we went on the Godzilla ride where Godzilla fights against Ghidra. And then we bounced from the park after that because, like I said, it's not the biggest or best park in the world. There's not a ton to do. And then that evening we just went out for some drinks. And I think, I did take this one picture because we went out for drinks and the night before we had gone out for drinks. And both times I ordered a large beer at two different bars. And at one bar, it was like 700 yen. And at the next bar, it was like 850 yen. And at the bar where a large beer was 700 yen, I got a glass that was about the size of maybe a bottle of beer. Maybe it held 12 ounces. And that was a large beer. And at the next bar, a large beer easily held 16, maybe as much as 24 ounces. So I was like, you never know what you're going to get for a large in Tokyo. And then our last day, we went out for ramen at a place called Ichiran. And it's cool because it's like it's meant to evoke like a ramen stall where like nobody talks to anybody. And you put in your order on like a sheet of paper and hand it to them, and they roll up the screen, and then they like roll it down, and then they roll it back up and like slide you your noodles, and like it was cool. It was like a fun eating experience.
Yeah, looks like a good time.
And then we did the Tokyo Sky Tree. So we went up on top of the Tokyo Sky Tree, and that's where we got to see like just how massive Tokyo is. It is gigantic. Like Tokyo shoves New York City in a locker. Tokyo is it's huge. and out there that's the municipal building, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you see this little gold turd looking thing is it's the Asahi beer headquarters. It's meant to look like a golden dollop of foam, but like everyone says that it looks like a golden piece of poo. And like this is another view, like the opposite way of Tokyo. So like it looks like this in all directions. Just massively, it's Tokyo is gigantic.
Stretches as far as the eye can see.
And then I was like taking pictures, like, oh, this bridge out here, I'm pretty sure Godzilla fought on that bridge.
Of course.
And then they also on the Tokyo Sky Tree had a like transparent floor at one point, so you could look straight down. That was about it in Tokyo. We got on a train from there, and the only other notable thing was that was our biggest. I think I may have mentioned this. Our biggest PT faux pas while we were there was we go and everything is like the trains were all like express trains or local, express or local. And so we get on a train in our hotel area to go to the airport, and there's like 38 stops between our hotel and the airport, and we're on a local. And I was like, let's get off of this. We need to be off of a local and on an express. So we get on a rapid, thinking that a rapid is just as good as an express. Poor choice.
Oh no.
A rapid only skips a handful of stops within the city itself. This train wound up making stops in like the middle of rice paddies, in the middle of nowhere. And we were like, uh-oh, what are we gonna do? And like I was like, because like we're making every single stop along the route of like, we skipped maybe 5 or 6 stops, so we made like 33 stops out of 38. It was like insane. We're in like the middle of these rice paddies, and I'm pulling up my phone being like, okay, what if I got out of this train right here and got a cab? Would I get to the airport any faster? No, because they have like bad highway systems in Japan because they have trains.
Yeah.
So our international flight from Tokyo left at 5:05 p.m. We got to the airport at 4:03 p.m. for our international flight. We sprint up to the desk. And actually, 4:03 is the time we got to the desk to check in. We probably got to the train stop at 4:01, and it was like probably would have been a 5 to 10 minute walk, but like I sprinted through the airport with my 80-pound bag. It was actually, I think my bag itself weighed 55 pounds. It was like exactly 55 pounds, like just enough to not get charged the oversized bag fee. Mm-hmm. With that bag, sprinted through the airport as fast as I could, get up to the desk. I was like dripping with sweat, and the person checking me in goes, "Why are you so worried? You have 2 minutes to spare." two whole minutes is how long they said they would hold on to, like, not hold on to, but like if I had shown up 2 minutes later, they would not have checked our bag.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But yeah, why are you so worried? You have 2 minutes to spare. Oh, okay.
Well, then we're golden.
So that was our trip to Japan. A delightful time.
Yeah, it honestly looked like you guys had a blast.
Like I said, some lessons learned as I paged through some pictures just of the first several days. I thought the don't sleep on the way or on the night before and sleep on the way there was a good strategy. I never felt myself jet lagged. Breakfast, if anyone has any tips for breakfast in Japan aside from like 7-Eleven, maybe let me know, because if I ever go back, I'd like to use some of them, because you can't find breakfast. So if you're heading to Japan, be aware of that. I thought Shinjuku and Shibuya were both really good places to stay in Tokyo. We stayed at places that were really easy to get to. We stayed near the Shibuya Scramble, and it was very easy to get all around Tokyo from Shibuya Station. So I would maybe if you're going to Tokyo especially, I would almost keep that in mind of like, Tokyo is massive. The closer you can stay to a major train station, the better off you'll be, because it's so huge in Tokyo. What else? If you're like me and you really like the culture and doing shrines and things like that, bring more cash than you would think. Like, and it's not that anything is expensive. It's just that when you start going to these shrines and get off the beaten path, not only do these shrines only accept cash, a lot of the businesses around them also only accept cash. And we found ourselves coming up against it in terms of cash, and we brought a fair amount, but I would have brought more. And we actually did have to exchange currency a couple of times, because again, I've done a little bit of international traveling before. A lot of places actually really want American money, especially if you travel to like South America or Mexico. They really want, like, they'll happily take US dollars. They in Japan don't want anything to do with your money if you're American, or if you have anything other than yen, they don't want anything to do with it. So whatever money you plan on bringing, bring only yen, or again, bring however much yen you think you might need, and then also some of your own cash as backup. We did some currency exchanges while we were there. We found a couple places with some really good rates. And then don't eat or drink in public, because nobody does it. That was quite wild.
It's a faux pas, right?
Yeah. And yeah, I would say like if you're a person like me who likes the culture, who likes the history, who likes that kind of stuff, Kyoto is a really good, really awesome place. And like, we spent 3 days there. We could have spent a fourth. Osaka, we spent 2 days. I think that was enough. Hiroshima, we spent 1 night. I think maybe 2 would have been kind of perfect. Tokyo, we ended up spending, I think, a total of 6 nights. Could have spent more. Like, Tokyo is so huge. There's so much to do. We could have spent a lot more time in Tokyo, just because it is such a big place. You could make a trip of just going to Tokyo.
I believe it.
So yeah, so those would be my general tips for, yeah, you could spend more time in Kyoto than you might think, and more time in Tokyo than you might think, because Tokyo is it's so big. Such a big place, but beautiful country. And yes, I'm aware, like, we went to like all the nice and like touristy areas, but like that, the other thing is we walked around outside everywhere, just the two of us mostly, and never at any point felt anything other than completely safe.
That's good.
So way to go, Japan. You put your best foot forward for us. Because I had a fantastic time. I really, really did.
Yeah, I'm a little jealous. It looked like it was awesome.
Yeah, it was great. If you enjoyed hearing about that, listeners, thank you. If you didn't, oh well, sorry. I just thought it'd be something fun to do and just kind of have a casual conversation.
I enjoyed it, and that's all that matters to me.
So, that said, we'll take our leave. We'll get out of all y'all's hair now, and we'll see you next time.
Have a good one, folks.
Bye.
Final Form is written and produced by Tom Gwelly. It is performed by Dan Kinney and Tom Gwelly. Our webmaster is Dan Kinney. Our theme music is provided by YouTube content creator GVG Kid. Want to learn more about the Dragon Ball universe, including concept art, behind-the-scenes interviews, and recommendations from Jelli and Bekinney? Connect with us on social media. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Final Forum Pod. Make sure to subscribe, rate, and review wherever you receive your podcasts. And of course, make sure to share it with your friends and family and help us spread the word of the glory of Lord Frieza. The Frieza Force thanks you for your listenership.